Let's talk about Evan Mathis. So was the signing of Evan Mathis a lack of faith in the baby blockers, as they've been as it come to known? Is it a GM? Is it a GM, John Elway, who had some money to spend, so he spent it on the best free agent available, or is it a thank you to Peyton Manning for taking a pay cut, or all of the above, or none of the above, or is there something else? Why did they sign Evan Mathis?
No, you start with it because you said today, isn't it odd that he could end up making $4 million? And you pointed out that's exactly what Peyton Manning took as a cut in salary. So you obviously think that they've been holding that $4 million
I don't think
in a pile of money over here to give it to somebody.
I don't think that they've been holding the $4 million. And in a salary cap sport, a Peyton Manning pay cut does not automatically equal a Pro Bowl blocker. I mean, it's more complicated than that. But yes, I do think it was a nod to Peyton Manning that we are doing something for you. I think it is all of the above because John Elway had the money available. I think a month ago, neither John Elway nor any GM in the NFL really believed you could get Evan Mathis for $2.5 million in base and $4 million with incentives when he turned down more than $5 million with Philadelphia. The going rate seemed to be more in the $5-6 million range. The Broncos got a very good deal, and Elway took advantage of that. And this is where Woody and I will disagree. You could not be a serious Super Bowl contender if you're teaching baby blockers how to block at the NFL level.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Not 3 in a row. There's no way. And so some people argue that a tackle was more needed than a guard. But if you put a Pro Bowl guard between a young
rookie
tackle
and a second-year guy at center,
then
a little more stability.
It's more stability, absolutely.
Yeah.
As a person who can identify with baby blockers, as you keep calling them, as someone who takes beta blockers.
Okay, I wondered where that was going.
If they had been a real, now have they moved since they got 3 old guys that those are the beta blockers? That would be kind of funny. I think that it wasn't so much a case of they were displeased, and so I will take your. I think they were happy with the progression of these young linemen.
I would agree.
I think it's sort of like when, let's go back to DeMarcus Ware, whether he's played great here or not, and he wore down last year, but he suddenly came on the market. And you go, whoa, DeMarcus Ware's out there? Let's go grab that. I mean, if you go into a used car lot, you look over and there's a Chevy Malibu convertible, and you went, I wasn't really looking for one. I like my car, but I'm gonna, man, I want a 1968 Malibu convertible red. I always wanted in my life. That, as Evan Mathis said in his interview with, I think it was Mike Kiszla, he said that the Broncos weren't in the running, really, that they were dark horse.
Got in late.
Pun intended, I guess, but that they came in late. Here's what I think. I don't think it was the money, Mark. I think that he was looking for that long-term deal that the Eagles weren't willing to give him. Even if it wasn't, it's not guaranteed in the NFL, but he was looking for, out from the Eagles, a 4-year deal.
He was asking for too much.
He's 34 years old. I think that he was hoping somebody would come up with around $4 or $5 million, but for a 4-year deal, so he could get somewhere between $16 and $20 million. I think when the market exhausted itself and he went out to Seattle and they said, we'd love to have you, but all we got's $1.5 million. Who was the guy?
Doesn't this feel like the Terrence Knighton deal? Terrence Knighton is looking for a long-term deal for big money. Nobody's offering it. He ends up signing a 1-year deal for, I believe, $5 million with the Washington Redskins.
But the difference is Terrence Knighton was desperate enough to go to the Redskins, which are a train wreck, and Mathis was smart enough to pick, okay, I'm either going to take Seattle or I'm going to take Denver. I'm going to take a team where I can be a major contributor to a team that's going to look good in the playoffs, and maybe that gets me a 2 or 3 year contract after that.
I know 2 other teams that were in the running with my investigation. New York Jets were interested in him. They're not a Super Bowl contender.
No.
The Miami Dolphins now, I think that intrigued him. They really wanted him. They had been talking to him, and the Tennessee Titans wanted him. So if you were sitting there deciding, you're right. I'm either going to Seattle or Denver because they have a good chance. Green Bay's not offering me a job. New England, I'm surprised they didn't, because New England just made a deal for a guy who's kind of an average offensive lineman.
Well, there are a lot of teams, including teams in the AFC West, desperate to improve their offensive line. Kansas City and San Diego, the same. I'm surprised there wasn't more of a market for him. Maybe he was just asking for outlandish money.
Well, that's it. Probably a long-term contract, and nobody at 34 wants to give you a long-term contract. But you could actually do it and cut him next year, because I believe, based on what's going on, Ryan Clady's never going to play another play for the Denver Broncos. They're not going to pay.
I think that's a reasonable bet.
They're not
sure.
going to pay him that kind of money. He's been hurt twice. They've been without him twice. Ryan Clady's going to be on the market like Evan Mathis next year.
And what will the market be for Ryan Clady if he's been hurt?
$4 or $5 million.
Right.
The same kind of deal.
Guys, shouldn't we be giving a lot more credit to Peyton Manning for this happening? He's here because of Peyton Manning.
I agree.
He's here because Peyton Manning makes them a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, no, I mean, if the quarterback was Geno Smith,
he's not here.
He's not here. And I also put it, if Peyton Manning giving back the $4 million helped build the kitty to sign Mathis. So for two reasons: the fact that Peyton Manning attracts players who want to win a championship, especially players past 30 years old, and the fact that Manning did give a little money back. This deal doesn't get done about Peyton Manning.
Let me come in through a back door, though. I looked at all the salaries this morning, and they're going to be casualties as a result of this. And so I don't. You were kind of moving that they didn't have that money sitting over here and saying, "Wait, we're not going to spend that $4 million until we get somebody that's worth $4 million." What's going to happen is Chris Clark's probably going to be gone because he makes $1.5 million. I think that Gradkowski is kind of on the line for a guy who makes $1.5 million.
Especially if they feel Garcia
Chris Clark
could be.
makes more than that. He's due to draw $2.7 million. So if you cut him, you don't have that money. It's $2 million against cap. Gradkowski, I think, is up in the air. That there are a couple other people that they're going to reach an injury settlement with Marvin Austin Jr. So that's money that's going to go away. They're going to find a way real quickly to make up that money.
And you're absolutely right. In terms of accounting, it wasn't Peyton Manning's pay cut that pays for Mathis, but it does allow, in my mind, Peyton Manning to say, oh, that's worth $4 million. If I get a Pro Bowl guard, that was worth the pay cut.
Plus you have to pay. I just don't want to. You have to play the game a little bit. Remember when Von Miller was hurt and they had no pass rusher? And forgive me for not remembering his name. He was with Baltimore last year. But the outside linebacker who used to play with San Diego that came in for $1 million for 1 year. They kept him for 1 year. The outside linebacker when Von Miller
Sean
was hurt.
Phillips.
Sean Phillips. Had a really nice year with the Broncos.
Yeah, about 10 sacks.
It's a matter of whether
Better than DeMarcus Ware, but...
Yeah, it matters whether or not you are willing to play the game for a while. I mean, I thought this morning, okay, you played that game. How about now go get Jake Long? If you really want to go all in, go get Jake Long and say, guys, you've done a really nice job. We like your progression. We think you're going to be our left side from the future, but we're going to put two guys in there. So I wonder what you think about that. They brought in Jake Long, and there was a thought, well, we'll revisit you later. Jake Long's sitting there. How do you play this game now? Do you go get Jake Long?
First segment brought to you by the Harmony Foundation. It's Colorado's premier treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction. It's right outside of Estes Park. Beautiful, large mountain campus. It is insurance friendly. So go to harmonyfoundationinc.com if you feel the need.